When I was at the start of my healing journey, I needed people who supported me to be able to describe in words the signs and symptoms of having active trauma going on inside of me, because I was so caught up in the midst of the storm that I couldn't see it from an objective perspective. I could not understand that my behaviors and actions were not of me, but were of the pain and the trauma that was still active inside of me. So this video is dedicated to 4 signs you have active trauma that needs healing. Sign number 1 is that you are constantly oversharing your trauma or you're trauma bonding with people. It comes from a natural human instinct of connection to share our pain with one another and to seek comfort. It is so natural and not anything to be ashamed of, but it is important that you understand that it's happening and you redirect that oversharing, that outpouring of what's inside to an environment that can actually take it and reframe it and help you process and make it through. Because if you're just pouring out what's on the inside to people who don't know how to help you, odds are is you're making people uncomfortable, and that's not the big deal here, like they'll get over it, but you're not actually helping yourself either. You are walking around as a red alert, I have trauma, I am hurt, and the average Joe doesn't know what to do about that. Again, it doesn't matter. Like, don't feel embarrassed, don't feel ashamed, don't have any type of negative thing at yourself of, oh my God, I overshare and I trauma bond and don't worry about it. But if you do it, recognize that that means there is so much that needs processed that it's popping off the top now. It's not stopping. You need to take it to somebody who knows how to help direct and focus it toward healing. Because if you keep speaking it out, but you don't change any thoughts, you don't change any frame of mind, then what you're going to do is accidentally reinforce that story to yourself, because when we keep telling it in an environment that doesn't know how to direct it, it's a story our mind keeps hearing about ourselves, and it reinforces the pain and the victimhood. That's a huge sign that you have some trauma that needs addressing and some triggers that are active, and healing can be done and is ready to happen. Another sign is that you are experiencing triggers consistently. It is difficult to say how many triggers are normal and how many are abnormal because everybody's different and everyone's at a different stage of healing. When I was originally diagnosed with my PTSD and dissociation and sensory sensitivity, boom, 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 I had triggers every 10 minutes, all the time. I was walking in a world of triggers. But if you are consistently walking in a way in which you are experiencing these triggers, they need to heal. It's not something you should have to be suffering. It's not something that should have to be pushing you and controlling you. Triggers are very controlling, and to experience triggers all the time breaks down our body's ability to heal, our immune system's ability to fight, our ability to sleep. Our cortisol levels go so high, we get so hypervigilant, hypersensitive, and we live in a world that's just so sharp and bright and intense. So if you're experiencing those kinds of triggers, it means that you have healing to do, and that is an amazing thing because that means healing is underway and it's possible. Our bodies are designed to heal. Our minds are designed to heal. Everybody has healing as a right as a human being. We get to heal, and it's something that we all share with one another, that we live in a world that causes us to need to heal. So don't be discouraged. Instead, take that and recognize, I have healing to do, therefore healing can happen. Go. Reason number 3 is really intense. It is that you are caught up in recreating the trauma. You are caught up in the cycle of recreating the trauma, but with different people and different scenarios. In another video in the future, we will dive more deeply into how the subconscious is pushing the conscious mind to create what is going wrong inside of it so that it can examine and understand it. If you watch my video on the neuroscience of character transformation, I actually lay some ground rules for that. But what I mean by you are recreating the trauma, but with different people and different scenarios, is that you are creating chaos when there is peace. You are experiencing the same outputs and the same relationships with different people across your life. Great example of this is someone who keeps dating the same kind of person but expecting a different result, but the reality is that you keep bringing your trauma into the relationship and your body is holding so much pain that it's projecting the pain upon the other person, or it's seeking out somebody who can create that same type of pain so that it can examine why this pain is painful. I know that's a big one. We will dive into that particular topic when we talk about dissociation on this channel. The first time I lived on my own at college, I created chaos all the time. I moved into an apartment with 3 other girls and I could not keep myself still. I was either creating chaos or I was fatigued and exhausted and passing out in my room. This reality of creating the trauma that we're trying to get away from shows us that there is a lot of active triggering and energy in the body from that trauma. Again, nothing to be ashamed of, something to be empowered by. If you can recognize that you're latching into this pattern, then you can actually make the choice to start unwinding that pattern, to start inserting patterns of health and goodness and change the way that you are addressing your life. The last sign that I have for you in this video is that you are either seeking numbing activities or overtly thrilling activities. An example of seeking numbing activities can be drugs, alcohol, video games, binging Netflix, reading hours and hours of fan fiction, just escapism. Anytime you are escaping the present reality and diving into false realities, not to enjoy them in a healthy state of mind, but to escape the reality that you don't want to face, this is a really good sign that you have active trauma. You've got triggers in the body and you are practicing what is called dorsal diving, going inside of yourself, or disassociating, separating from the situation at hand, or escapism, leaving the reality and choosing a false one instead. I did this all the time as a teenager. I played Elder Scrolls like crazy. I logged hundreds of hours. I also played Sims, I also played SimCity, but Elder Scrolls was my really big escapism. There is a season when that is necessary because it's coping, but there's also a season when you have separation from the source of those traumas, and now you have to start taking into your own hands the responsibility to heal the aftermath of it. And I know that's a really big bite to take. Check out my channel for videos on support of that. The overtly thrilling activities have a little bit of crossover because you can use alcohol and drugs for numbing, but using alcohol and drugs for thrilling can include being in dangerous environments, being in destructive environments, drinking to excess, surrounding yourself with dangerous or unhealthy company, pushing yourself to limits because that adrenaline high makes you feel something. That is a really good indicator that there's a lot of pain inside of the body and you are trying to experience some type of a high so that you can experience the opposite of that pain, but those types of highs actually just carve the hole deeper because it's not constructive, healing, joyful goodness. It's self-sabotaging destruction. I also engaged in my own self-destructive activities. I'm not going to share those details right here, right now, but found myself in environments I shouldn't have been, around people I shouldn't have been around, who were not safe for me to be around. Trauma will push you to do a lot of things. The aftermath of trauma, triggers, will push you to do a lot of things. If you are living in an environment where you cannot get away from these triggers, go check out my video on how to heal from trauma when you're still in the environment. I'm gonna link it. You have every right that anybody else has to heal. You have so many tools at your disposal. You have so much ability to do it, but you are the one who declares whether or not it begins. If it begins, wow, life will change. Because the process will naturally take you somewhere better than you are now, but you have to show up for yourself. You have to open up your heart. You have to recognize what is good, what is bad. You have to understand your choices and the outcome of those choices, the consequences. You have to be accountable for you. And you can do it because you are designed to do it. You are literally designed to heal. Whew! I'm going to talk more about that on my channel too when we get into body-mind connection coming in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much for giving me your time right now. Drop a comment, please. It really supports me. And hit that subscribe button if you would like. I appreciate you. Goodbye. No. Then what you're going to do... Hang on. Woo! De quoi? No. Hang on. Hang on.